What's up, guys? We're back in the studio. This video, we're pretty much going to start mixing the whole project, all the tracks together, making sure they sound good as a whole. So what I've done already to speed the process up, I've loaded in pretty much all of the tracks, done a little bit of automation. I'll explain what that is here in a minute. So here we can see I've actually color coded everything as well. I was going to do icons, which FL Studio lets you do, but I don't really need them because the colors are enough in this case. Not a ridiculous amount of tracks on this song anyway, kind of simple. But I grouped them into their own kind of groups. I'll go over this in a minute. But firstly, in the playlist view, all my kicks are together. They're color coded. These actually have icons on them. Um, the hi-hats, the snares, the kind of like the extra percussion. I group the clap with the snares, and then you have the extra percussion like the snaps, the shakers, the little bleep effect that I put in, rim shots, more claps, a ride cymbal. And you have the basses, really only two basses in this track. I color them completely differently because they're completely different sounds. You have the saw bass, and then you have the kind of analog bass at verse 2. And you haven't heard all these tracks, so I will play them in just a second when I'm done going over the organization part. You have the guitar and the reverse guitar that I stuck at the end, where I basically just took the chord progression and completely flipped it so that it's running in reverse. You have the kind of super saw like sounds with the future brass sound and the distorted saws in the second drop. You have the Phoenix Cry lead. You have the whirly keyboard that I put in at the verse. And then you have all the cymbals, the main crash, the reverse crash, and then 3 other crashes. And then the only automation here we have going on is, this is actually mislabeled. This is just an automation track. Should have changed that, but this is just the guitar volume in the drop. I have this little snippet where I like took the very beginning of the guitar phrase and pasted it into the drop just for like a couple beats, kind of like a almost like a glitch effect. And I needed it to be much louder, so I basically peaked the volume so that it wasn't being overpowered by all the other synths going on. Actually, I forgot to copy that over to the second drop as well, so I'm going to do that now. I can kind of see where it is. Just copy that, drag it. I think yeah, it's right there. Cool. Then the LFO tools. The LFO tools apply to the distorted saw and the Phoenix Cry lead in the second drop, because the first half of the second drop is like a completely different genre, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. It's more like synth pop than future bass, I guess. I don't know. Or melodic future bass, something like that. So I have a separate LFO tool instead of the sidechain that I was running before, but I only want it to sidechain during that first half of the drop, and then it completely cuts. The reverse guitars are a little bit loud. Oh no, sorry, they're not loud. It's just I faded out the entire track over time towards the very end, where only the reverse guitars are playing. So we're gonna play this from beginning to end unmixed, well, virtually unmixed. You can see I've routed stuff to like buses, to buses already, just to speed the process up. Like I have this going to a side chain and also going to the drums bus. All the drums are pretty much going to the drums bus. There's 2 side chains, the side chain and the verse side chain, because they're different. Drums bus. These are going to the chain. But with the exception of that and the crashes, which I have already mixed, I put EQs and reverbs on them and stereo spread them. Again, just because, like, to speed up the process, that's not really very interesting. So the only thing that's truly mixed other than the crashes right now is the drums bus itself. I put the Analog Obsession compressor by Buster SE on the drums bus, and we're just compressing it. Pretty standard drums bus. Glue compression ratio 3 to 1. Threshold pretty high. Bit of makeup gain to bring back some of the volume, and we're not using any of the crazy turbo or Xformer effects here. We're just kind of using very basic compression, nothing too ridiculous on the bus. Alright, so let's go ahead and listen to what it sounds like unmixed. You can see again in the mixer, all the levels except for the crashes, which are already mixed, are set to 0 dB. So let's go ahead and hear it. Alright, cool. So, obviously, kind of a lot of work to be done there, but that's what it sounds like pre-mixed down. So, what I'm going to do is probably very briefly finish cleaning this up, getting it ready to mix, and we will start actually diving into that process in the next video. So I will see you guys next time.